Why, hello there. It has been quite a long time since I've sat down and talked to you guys in front of a camera like this. I know I do the vlogs, but those aren't really the same as when I actually sit down and have my coffee and just chat with you guys about whatever topic I'm about to chat with you guys about. Today I actually have quite a special video. I feel like most of you guys have seen my very popular video of 5 things I wish I knew before the first time I had sex. A lot of you probably came from that video, but all jokes aside, I think that was one of my most popular videos just because not a lot of people talk about these specific topics on the internet, which I think needs to change. Actually, it's great to see that these topics are being covered more and more on the internet and just in media in general. I'm just glad that people are starting to talk more about the reproductive system and everything else that is related to it, and that it isn't such a taboo thing anymore. I just spilled coffee on myself. So anyways, something else I want to mention before I actually get started with this video is that I decided to rename the series again. I know it used to be called Coffee Chats. I called it Coffee Chats for a while. I called most of my other ones Coffee Chats, and I'm not going to change that. But moving forward, I want this series to actually be called To Be Frank. Just because I feel like when people say, you know, to be frank, they're about to hit you with some of that honest shit. So I think that's a lot of what these topics really are, is me talking about my insecurities, me talking about sex, me talking about, you know, other topics that may seem kind of taboo in some situations, but I'm just trying to be frank with y'all and talk about what's important. So in today's To Be Frank video, I am going to be sharing with you 5 more things, and these are 5 things that your mom did not tell you about your vagina. I feel like a lot of the conversations that had sprung within the comments of my other video did revolve around the things that I had said about, you know, your vagina, like peeing after sex, like clitoral stimulation. So I'm gonna cover actually a lot of the same things in this video, but I'm really diving deep on those specific topics. I know I brushed by it relatively quickly in the last video, but I am here to debunk some myths. I am here to share some new information, and I just really want to, I guess, start a new conversation about vaginas. Because honestly, and I don't know if this is really necessarily just an Asian mom thing, but my mom never, ever really talked to me about vaginas. I don't even really remember her giving me the bees and the birds talk. I remember she brought it up once, and I remember her mentioning the words sleeping with a guy, but I'm pretty sure I blacked out the rest of that memory like from my mind ages ago. But yeah, I just feel like there are a lot of things that I had to learn myself about my vagina, about sex, about femininity, about sexuality, and those aren't really things that are covered in school either. So I just think it's really important to at least put this information out there, and you know, some of the things I learned the hard way, some of the things I did research on myself, but just share some of that information with you guys because I know a lot of you are girls who are quite young or younger than me, or maybe just isn't as experienced as me in these specific areas, I guess. Anyways, enough of me rambling. Here are 5 things that your mom didn't tell you about your vagina. The first thing is discharge is totally normal. My mom told me all about periods. That was taught. Actually, no, she didn't. That's a lie. She didn't even tell me about periods. My sex ed class, my one sex ed class in grade 6 taught me about periods, and I feel like it was a very scientific explanation, but didn't really prepare me for, you know, everything else that has to do with your vagina, or everything else that comes out of your vagina. So the first time that I experienced discharge, I was like, what the f is going on right now? So discharge is a bit of a, I guess, tricky topic because it is different for everybody, just like vaginas, just like periods. Discharge is very different for every body. Some people will get discharge every single day, and that's totally normal. Some people only get discharge when they are ovulating, and that's perfectly normal. I think that there are some things that you can compare and judge whether your discharge is normal or not normal, but as far as frequency and timing and amount goes, I feel like those are not very good judges of whether your discharge is normal. So something to take note of when you are examining your discharge, or if you've seen it for the first time and you're getting freaked out, if it's clear or if it's like a white milky color, you're good to go. That's pretty normal for your body to do that. Discharge is actually a very, very important, I guess, like housekeeping situation for your body. It carries all of the dead cells and bacteria that is in, you know, your vagina and your uterus and expels all of that. So it's kind of like your body's way of cleaning itself. Again, the smell and color can actually vary depending on where you are in your menstrual cycle, your hormones, a lot of different things. But if your discharge doesn't smell like unpleasantly foul, it's not super colorful in any way, if it's just like a white, soft, milky color, if it's clear, if it has like a bit of a smell but it's not super foul or unpleasant, you're usually good to go. It doesn't matter if you're having discharge every day, if you're having it once a week, if you're having it once a month, whatever it is, that's how you can kind of tell whether it is pretty normal for you. I definitely remember the first time that I experienced true like milky discharge, and I don't know if it's just me, but actually no, I know it's not just me because my friends have experienced this as well. But sometimes when you've been taking birth control for a while, your discharge kind of gets like chunky, like gooey. And I remember the first time I saw that, I was like, that's disgusting. What is that? It kind of looks like a little baby alien or something has come out of you. But you know what? Totally normal. Like I said, there are a lot of different things that can affect how your discharge looks, how it feels. Not that you're touching it or anything, but you know what I mean? Like the consistency. So don't be alarmed. And if it's something that does alarm you, you know, if you sense that something is wrong, whether it smells bad, whether the color is drastically different than it was last month or the month before, just see a physician and ask them a question, or better yet, Google it, do some online research. I know a lot of people say don't do that and don't go on WebMD and diagnose yourself, but I'm not telling you to look at WebMD and be like, am I dying because my discharge is slightly whatever? I'm just saying that there is a world of information on Google that can really help you kind of navigate through learning about these things, aka also hence why I'm making this video. So yeah, do some Googling if you see any changes compared to like previous months. Number two, I know I addressed this already in the other video, but just in case you guys didn't see that video, peeing after sex is very important. It's very important, and it can help prevent UTIs. Did you know that women are 10 times more likely to get UTIs than men? Because of the way our reproductive system is structured, our urethra is actually a lot closer to the anus, which means there's actually chances of us getting UTIs just from wiping the wrong way or, you know, not wiping properly. That's why you may or may not have heard your parents tell you, don't wipe like towards the front of your body, wipe towards the back of your body. And that just kind of prevents any bacteria from, you know, your poop or anything like that to go near your vagina or your urethra. And because our urethra is right there, right next to your vagina or right within the flaps of your vagina, during sex, the bacteria that might be coming from your partner's genitalia or your genitalia being spread around can actually get into your urethra, go into your bladder, and cause a UTI. That's why it's super important for you to actually urinate prior to and after sex. I know it's not always possible. A lot of the comments in my last video were like, what if I can't pee? Well, just try. Honestly, just try. I have friends who've said that they have sat on the toilet for like 15 minutes after sex, just waiting to kind of pee, or, you know, chug some water and try to pee as promptly after sex as possible. Just because peeing will just help make sure that you are flushing anything that may have entered your urethra during intercourse. out of your body. Another tip for preventing UTIs, of course, is just to drink a lot of water, and that works the exact same way because the more water you drink, the more you will pee and the more chance of bacteria just getting flushed out of your body naturally. Number 3, certain underwear can actually cause irritation, which is crazy. You would think that people who are making underwear are knowledgeable enough around the topic that they can make underwear that won't irritate the part that it's supposed to protect. But something that I realized growing up is that certain underwear materials and styles really irritate my vagina. So for example, cotton underwear is great for you. It is very breathable. It doesn't conduct too much heat. So usually heat and moisture is a great way to cause a yeast infection, which is not pleasant, trust me. But cotton underwear is a great way to kind of combat that. And if you're somebody who is quite prone to yeast infections and you can't really figure out why, maybe try cotton underwear or just breathable materials in your underwear, because that just allows more airflow to your lady parts and kind of help prevent that a little bit. Also, lacy, frilly, fringy underwear can cause chafing for some people, especially if you're buying from a brand that doesn't make their laces or frills from the best materials. I find that lacing on, you know, the waistband is normally totally fine because that's not affecting me in any way. But when there's lacing along the bands that go around your legs, and when the lacing is around the part that is touching your vagina, sometimes when I'm in those garments for too long, or if I'm walking all day, or if I'm, you know, gonna be somewhere hot and I'm gonna be sweating, those can often cause chafing and just be really uncomfortable. So I try to stay away from anything that has rough kind of frills or laces. They're fun for when you're in the bedroom trying to look sexy, but like throw them on before you do the thing and then you're good to go. You don't need to be wearing them all day. Ooh, thongs. Thongs are so annoying. There are some thongs, especially the one, again, with the lacing detail around the leg holes, whatever you call them, they seriously cause chafing and it sucks. And sometimes when a thong is not made from a nice material, like a really nice soft material, it can actually cause little minor rips and cuts along your rectum, which is so painful, you guys, so freaking painful. I've actually had an experience, or actually multiple experiences when I was young, that the underwear or the thong that I was wearing would cause so much irritation around my like vaginal region that there would be like little rashes that happen there, like little red bumps, itching, and then obviously if you itch, that part is very sensitive, so if you scratch at it, you're gonna irritate it more and you develop like little minor cuts, and oh my god, it's just a complete and total shitstorm that happens. So I kind of just stay away from those specific like thongs now. If I am gonna wear a thong, I buy that satiny material that have no seams. I found that those are the most comfortable and they are obviously seamless. So they do the job at when you're wearing like, you know, a tight skirt or whatever, they do the job for that. I don't need to go out and buy little lacy frilly thongs or G-strings because I just don't find them to be comfortable whatsoever. My vagina does not like them, so I just kind of stay away from that now. Do I wear granny panties? Sometimes. I mean, I think my cheeky underwear is still very, very cute, so I think if you just pick and choose the underwear, it can have laces on it, it can have frills on it, but just make sure that, especially around the vagina area, that it's not too hard, it's not too rough, because that is a delicate little area, okay? It can get injured real easily. So yeah, big tip, stay away from those. Get some cotton underwear for, you know, your day-to-day and you'll be very happy. And so will your vagina. The fourth thing that I want to tell you guys about your vaginas is that a lot of women can only achieve orgasms through their clitoris. So there are tons of studies that show that a larger percentage of men achieve orgasms during intercourse than women. Actually, I think the percentage is like 95% of men are very likely to achieve an orgasm when they're having sex, whereas 65% of women actually said that they were least likely to achieve an orgasm during sex. And I think it's because there is this imagery in our heads that have been built by maybe porn, maybe stories, whatever it is, that women can just naturally achieve orgasms purely through intercourse, which for some people is true, but for the majority just isn't true. Like I've mentioned in my last video, the distance between your clitoris to your vagina actually has a direct correlation to whether you can achieve orgasms through just penetration, which totally makes sense because your clitoris is a very, very sensitive part. It has a ton of nerve endings. And fun fact, it actually isn't just the little nub that you see it as, you know, next to your vagina. It is actually a large internal organ that is comprised of erectile tissue at the same scale as a penis. So think of it as like a little internal penis within you, but that organ is actually quite large. You're not getting all of that sensation just from that tiny little nub on your genitals, which explains even more so why that if your clitoris is closer to your vagina hole, it's easier for you to achieve an orgasm. Because at the end of the day, you need that clitoral stimulation to achieve orgasms. I know masturbation is always a little bit of a taboo subject, especially for younger girls. I think it's a big issue and a big gap in our education system that needs to be filled. But anyways, that is the best way for you to learn and explore your body and what it needs to achieve pleasure. So, you know, light yourself a candle, maybe grab a glass of wine, or if you're underage, some hot chocolate, I don't know, something that will relax you, and do a little bit of exploring and see what you like, because honestly, it's gonna make a world of difference when you have sex for the first time, or if you're already having sex, it's still gonna make a world of difference when you know what pleasures you, because then you can show your partner like, hey, this is what I like, this is what I need to get off, and yeah, it's just gonna save you so much time and so much effort and from so many shitty sex experiences, trust me. Number 5, and this is a pretty interesting one, but your vagina doesn't actually always like to be moist. Again, this is very different for everybody. Some vaginas are moist more often than not, whether it's through discharge, whether it's through sweat, whether it's through movement, but I'm sure you've had days where you've noticed that you're getting a little moist even though you're not horny, even though there's no hot, sexy guy in front of you. You're just kind of like going about your day and you're like, oh, that feels moist. So when you're feeling that moisture, it's actually the glands in your cervix and uterus that are producing that lubrication to protect your vagina from any injuries or tears, which makes sense, right? Because imagine having sex with absolutely no lubrication, like, ouch, that would hurt a lot. It is another one of your body's maintenance things that it does. And this kind of relates back to having good underwear, because when your body does create that moisture and lubrication throughout the day and you have non-breathable underwear, again, it's gonna likely cause you yeast infections and irritations sometimes, because your skin doesn't like to be against moisture and warmth too often. So my tips for this, of course, is to change out of your swimwear and your workout wear ASAP if you can. Don't sit around in your workout gear all day. I even bring a change of underwear when I go to the gym and I know I won't have time to come home and shower before I like head out somewhere else. So I just bring a change of underwear, and I make sure that I change my underwear actually every time after I gym, because I get sweaty all over, and oh my god, I do not want to be sitting in sweaty underwear all day. But of course, if it's just something that your body naturally does and it's not necessarily caused by the sweat when you're going to the gym, your body just produces extra moisture, a big tip is to buy panty liners. And it may seem like kind of a waste to wear them every day or wear them more often than when you are on your period, but if your body needs it, if your vagina does not like the moist, warm situations that it creates for itself, put a panty liner on your underwear and go about your day. And then when you pee next, or when you feel that it is getting a little moist, change that shit, because it's like wearing a fresh new pair of underwear. Because I swear to God, on days where I needed to be out all freaking day, like from 7 a.m. to nighttime, panty liners have seriously saved me, because nobody likes to be in dirty underwear. Like, no vagina likes that, I promise you. Okay, with that, That is the end of today's To Be Frank video. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions or if there are other kind of topics that you want me to cover. If you have questions, maybe I can do like a more interactive one where I do a Q&A about vaginas or Q&A about sex or Q&A about relationships or whatever. So if you have questions, let me know in the comments. I'm very active on Instagram, so if you guys would like, follow me on my Instagram. It's @SpeakOfTheAngel. I often do a lot of Q&As on there, or I do little polls where you can shoot me questions. I also do answer DMs quite often if they're not like inappropriate, or if you're asking a legitimate question, I will most likely answer your question. I really do hope that you guys found this helpful or that you learned something today, because honestly, that is the reason that drives me to continue making these videos. I mean, it has caused me, like, even though that video went viral and it did bring me a lot of reach and a lot of new subscribers, that video has caused me so many weird little, caused so many weird little awkward moments in my life where, for example, my boyfriend's uncle knew about it, or my boyfriend's little nephews knew about it. So, but yeah, there have been situations where I thought to myself, like, maybe it wasn't the best idea for me to have such a popular video talking about sex on my YouTube channel that's very public. But at the end of the day, I think it's worth it for, even if it's just 5 of you or 10 of you who found this information useful and weren't able to get this information on your own. Yeah, I'm happy to help, and I hope that we can cover more of these topics together in the future. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys are having an amazing day wherever you are in the world, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!